What up? So today we're gonna work on the Evo. Gonna take the valve cover off, replace the gasket, clean it up, and then lastly we're gonna paint the valve cover. So yeah, I got a couple ideas. Hopefully it turns out pretty good, but we'll see how it goes, man. So pretty straightforward. It's not too bad. As you can see, it's not the cleanest, but basically the reason why we're doing this is because it started leaking like right around here. So the old valve or the old gasket is just, you know, going bad. So I'm gonna take this off, and then I'm gonna try and clean up the spark plug wires too, because they're nasty. And then, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and sand this down, paint it, see how it turns out. So everything up top is a 10 millimeter. So we're going to take the spark plug cover off first. Spark plug wires are already numbered, so I don't got to worry about it. If they were not numbered though, then yes, you should be making sure you label it so you put everything back in the right spot, just in case. So but yeah, so we'll take that off first. We'll take the spark plug wires off. We'll set those aside so that they can get cleaned up, and then we'll go ahead and start taking off all the different hoses. And then after that, we'll take off the timing belt cover, and then we'll start taking off the valve cover, and then get that prepped for cleaning. So one of the things that I like to do is, this is just a preference. I mean, I don't know how everyone else does it, but this is kind of how I do it. I know some people use red Solo cups or whatever, but Ziploc bags work too. But what I like to do is I like to take a water bottle, an old water bottle, just cut it open. And basically what I like to do is I like to keep all the parts for one specific item together. So all the little bolts for the spark plug cover, I'll put them all in here. All the little holders for the spark plugs wires, I'll put those in there. And the same thing with the other holder, I'll just kind of put that in there so it's all together. It helps whenever later on when you're trying to put everything back or whatever, you have everything in one little thing. You're like, okay, yeah, this is what needs to go here, you know, whatnot. So my timing belt is an HKS timing belt. I recently put that on, yeah, not too long ago. But yeah, timing belt is an HKS timing belt. That shit is beautiful, man. I like it. The valve cover's off. It's dirty, man. It's really dirty. So the next step is going to be to get these old gaskets off. Usually you can just pull them right out. Sometimes you might need to grab a flathead to pull them out. Luckily Mitsubishi still has these in stock for the car, so I believe the 4G63, they're all the same, which is why they still have them in stock, which is good for me. So I'm just going to take these off, take the gasket off of here. And then what I'm using to clean it is I'll be using some dish soap and water. And then once I have it all washed up and cleaned up, I'll use this brush to kind of clean it up. And then once it's all dry, wait a couple hours. Once it's dry, I'll come back out here with alcohol. This is 90%, so I'm just going to spray the entire thing down with the alcohol. And I'll use one of these rags. Use one of these rags here to kind of dry it off, and then basically we're going to do the same thing for the spark plug cover and the timing belt cover, and then same thing for the spark plug wires. Now these are, as I'm looking at them, I probably should have got some new ones. These are pretty beat up, but they're not bad. They'll still work. They're still going to get the job done. But that's something that I'm going to have to replace pretty soon. And if you got something like this, this works really well at kind of getting in there and getting these gaskets out, especially when they've been, you know, they're really old, falling apart. This will help you out getting them out. So So basically use it to kind of pry it up, and then you just kind of take it off by your hand. All this will go in the trash. We're not going to use it anymore, obviously. With the old gasket, you don't really, it doesn't matter, you don't have to be kind of careful with it. You got a new one to replace it anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. There we go. Now flip it over, and there's a few more on the inside here, so we'll pop those out and we start cleaning. Okay, that's pretty much it. Freaking gloves. I like to wear gloves, but this is why I don't like to wear gloves, because they freaking fall apart anyway. Hey, whatever it is, what it is. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit it with the dish soap and water, spray it down, soak it, wet it up, and then use the brush, kind of agitate it, flip it over, do the same thing on the other side, then use the water, spray it off, and then rinse and repeat. Cool. So the initial wash is done. So the initial wash is just to knock off dirt, you know what I mean, to try and get some of that oil off, not really focus on getting all the oil off. You're not going to be able to with just, you know, dish soap and water. So once we get to the sanding stage, that will be the part where we're trying to get everything off, and then we'll use the rubbing alcohol. Like I said, we'll use that as another step after the sanding. Use the rubbing alcohol to dry it off, knock off all the sand dust and then any excess oil that stayed, and then basically we're just going to prep it and mask off the pieces we don't want to get painted and just go from there. That's pretty much it for the day. Got the valve cover sanded down. Not as good as I wanted it to, but that's as best as I'm going to be able to get without having a sanding wheel or something like that, so I can actually get in there and sand it really nice. I had a plan for the lettering. It didn't sand all the way down. There's still a lot of, you can see a lot of paint on there and oil. So I'm just gonna have to leave it as it is, and hopefully it comes out the way I want it to. But I'll show you guys later. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'm just gonna let this dry off and then work on it again tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll probably go ahead and start hitting it with a finer sandpaper, or I might go ahead and start spraying the primer and then probably sand it down again, so we'll see. Alright, so we're jumping on to the painting stage. I already masked off the stuff I needed to mask off, so basically just gonna hit it with the primer and go ahead and start painting. A giant ass bee right here though. Anyway, but check out these views, man. Yeah, I masked everything off. We're definitely not painting the inside of it, so I'm just kind of covering some of the bigger holes. I don't really care about the smaller ones, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is going to be my setup. I'm going to set it down on here. This is a plastic lid, kind of center it as best as I can. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it, and then I'm going to put the Tupperware over it. So hopefully the purpose is going to be to keep all the crap out of it, dirt, dust, and all that stuff. So let's start getting ready. All right, so we're pretty much ready to go. I just kind of cleaned up a little bit more. I'm about to hit it with the tack cloth and then go ahead and lay down the first can of primer. All right, so got the primers done, coats done. So I'm just gonna hit it with a quick fine sandpaper and then hit it with the tack cloth, and then I'll start laying the first coat of the base coat. All right, so finished the base coats. Now I'm just gonna go on to my final step, try and add a little texture to it. So let's see how that comes out. All right, so valve cover's painted. It came out pretty well. I like it. It really matches my theme, the military, theme that I got going. So like I said, I really enjoy it. I think once I get it on the car, it'll match everything and kind of put it all together. So last step before I actually get the valve cover back on and the new gasket on is I'm gonna take a flat blade like this and kind of just go over the old where the old gasket was sitting, because it still has a bunch of stuff kind of built up on here. So I'll just kind of show you guys, like you guys can see all that crap that just came off. So we'll just clean that up, and then once that's done, I'll wipe it down real quick, and then we'll go ahead and put the valve cover back on, put the gasket on, put the valve cover back on, and tighten everything up. Right, she's done. She's all bolted back up, and I'm ready to show it to you guys. So here we go. Alright, so that was it. Got it all painted, everything's done, installed. Total actual work time is probably about 4 or 5 hours. That's not including the breaks in between the paint, the coats of paint. That's straight just, if you combine all the working hours together, about 4 or 5 hours. It's really not that long. It is time consuming in the part that you do have to let your coats dry. You really got to prep it and kind of get it prepped really well, so that's where you get a good finish and stuff like that. But overall, I'm happy with how it came out. I think it could have been better, but that's just me. I always feel like my work could be better, but overall I'm very pleased with how it came out. So I'm curious to see how you guys like it. I'll probably be taking it apart couple years from now and redo it, but hey, that's the whole point of this, right? So all right guys, well, hope you liked and enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you guys later.